In the summer of 1940, the German Wehrmacht executed a rapid and brutal campaign that would forever alter the landscape of France. The swift fall of Paris and the subsequent occupation of the country left the French populace in a state of shock and despair. Streets that once echoed with the laughter of children and the vibrant chatter of market vendors fell silent, replaced by the ominous sounds of marching boots and the rumble of military vehicles. The German commanders, buoyed by their swift victory, were convinced that the French people were too demoralized to mount any significant resistance. They viewed the populace through a lens of derision, believing them to be passive victims of their own defeat. Yet, beneath this veneer of despair, a quiet but fierce determination began to simmer among ordinary citizens. Among them were the railway workers, who understood the strategic significance of their industry. The railways were the lifeblood of the German war machine, transporting troops, supplies, and equipment across occupied Europe. Disrupting this network, even in small ways, could have a profound impact on the German military's operations. When the occupation progressed, the railway workers began to engage in subtle acts of defiance. They misdirected trains, delayed shipments, and spread misinformation, laying the groundwork for a more organized resistance movement. The German commanders, blinded by their overconfidence, failed to recognize these early signs of rebellion. They dismissed the notion that civilians could pose any real threat, a critical oversight that would soon come back to haunt them. By the year of 1942, the initial derision of the German commanders had inadvertently allowed the seeds of resistance to take root. The railway workers, many of whom were union members with a history of solidarity, began to organize more systematically. They held clandestine meetings in abandoned warehouses and secluded countryside locations, sharing intelligence and fostering a sense of camaraderie. This growing network of resistance would soon evolve into a formidable force, known as the Chemin de Fer Secret. When the new year of 1943 dawned, the resistance prepared for the next phase of this clandestine operation. The railway workers, now more organized and emboldened, were ready to take their resistance to the next level. The German commanders, still largely oblivious to the growing threat, would soon find themselves facing a challenge they had never anticipated. The German occupation of France was marked by a complex interplay of military strategy, political maneuvering, and the daily realities of life under tyranny. Following the swift defeat of the French military in June 1940, the country was divided into occupied and unoccupied zones, with the Germans controlling the northern regions, including Paris, and the Vichy regime governing the south. This division created a unique environment for resistance, as the occupied territories were rife with discontent and a desire for liberation. Daily life for the French people under occupation was fraught with challenges. Rationing became a way of life, with food, fuel, and other essential goods in short supply. The German authorities imposed strict curfews and travel restrictions, creating an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. Propaganda flooded the airwaves, attempting to instill a sense of hopelessness among the populace. Yet, amid this oppression, a spirit of resilience began to emerge. The railway system, a vital component of France's infrastructure, became a focal point for resistance efforts. The French railways, known for their extensive network connecting cities and towns, were crucial for the movement of goods and military personnel. Railway workers, who had long been part of a labor movement advocating for workers' rights, found themselves in a unique position to disrupt the German war effort. They were intimately familiar with the schedules, routes, and operations of the railway system, giving them a strategic advantage. In the early years of the occupation, from 1940 to 1942, individual acts of defiance began to coalesce into a more organized resistance movement. Railway workers engaged in subtle sabotage, misdirecting trains, delaying shipments, and spreading misinformation. These acts, although largely uncoordinated, laid the groundwork for what would eventually become the Chemin de Fer Secret. The workers' motivations were varied but deeply rooted in a shared desire for freedom. Many were driven by a sense of duty to their country, while others were motivated by personal loss or the desire to protect their families from the oppressive regime. The railway workers, many of whom were union members, understood the importance of collective action. They began to organize clandestine meetings, often held in secret locations to avoid detection by German authorities. These gatherings provided a forum for sharing intelligence and discussing strategies for sabotage. By the time the resistance movement began to take shape, the German commanders remained largely oblivious to the growing threat. Their perception of the French populace as demoralized and passive blinded them to the reality of the situation. The railway workers, emboldened by their early successes, continued to develop their plans, laying the foundation for the Chemin de Fer Secret. This underground network, born out of necessity and nurtured by a spirit of defiance, was poised to become a formidable force in the struggle against the occupiers. By the year of 1942, the groundwork had been laid for a more coordinated effort. The railway workers, now more organized and determined, were ready to take their resistance to the next level. The German commanders, still underestimating the resolve of the French civilians, would soon find themselves facing a challenge that would test their control over occupied France. The Chemin de Fer Secret was not just a network of railway workers, it was a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of tyranny. As the new year of 1943 approached, the resistance prepared for the railway workers to rise against their oppressors, armed with their knowledge of the railway system and a commitment to freedom. As the spring of 1944 unfolded, the Chemin de Fer Secret prepared to launch its first major operations. The Allied invasion of Normandy was imminent, and the network's activities would be crucial in delaying German troop movements and disrupting supply lines. The railway workers, aware of the stakes, intensified their efforts, executing a series of carefully planned diversions and sabotage operations. The first major operation took place in April 1944, when the network successfully rerouted a train carrying critical supplies destined for the German front lines. Using their intimate knowledge of the railway system, the workers altered the train's schedule and redirected it to a remote location, where the supplies were intercepted by the resistance. This operation, executed with precision and secrecy, demonstrated the network's growing capabilities and emboldened its members. In the weeks that followed, the Chemin de Fer Secret launched a series of similar operations, targeting trains carrying troops and equipment to the Normandy coast. The network's activities created significant delays and confusion, hindering the German military's ability to respond to the impending Allied invasion. German commanders, initially skeptical of the reports of civilian-led sabotage, began to take notice as their panzer divisions faced unexpected delays. The success of these operations was due in large part to the network's meticulous planning and execution. The railway workers, drawing on their extensive knowledge of the railway system, were able to anticipate and exploit vulnerabilities in the German supply chain. They used a combination of sabotage techniques, including the destruction of tracks and signaling equipment, to create chaos and confusion. As the network's effectiveness became evident, tensions escalated between the resistance and the German occupiers. The German military, now fully aware of the threat posed by the Chemin de Fer Secret, intensified their efforts to dismantle the network. Raids were conducted on railway stations, and many suspected resistance members were arrested, interrogated, and, in some cases, executed. Despite the increased scrutiny and brutal reprisals, the railway workers remained undeterred. Their commitment to the cause of freedom only strengthened in the face of adversity, as they continued to carry out their operations with determination and resolve. The network's resilience became a symbol of defiance against oppression, inspiring other resistance groups across France to join the fight. As the Allied invasion of Normandy approached, the Chemin de Fer Secret's activities became even more critical. The network's ability to disrupt German operations and delay reinforcements would play a pivotal role in the success of the D-Day landings. The railway workers, aware of the importance of their mission, continued to operate with unwavering dedication, ready to make whatever sacrifices were necessary to achieve victory. The confrontation between the Chemin de Fer Secret and the German occupiers was a testament to the power of civilian resistance. The network's actions not only hindered military operations but also inspired a renewed sense of hope among the French population. As the tide of war began to turn, the railway workers' efforts would prove to be a crucial factor in the liberation of France. The first major operation, which had set the tone for the network's activities, was not merely a singular event but rather a catalyst for a series of increasingly ambitious undertakings. The workers, emboldened by their initial success, began to coordinate their efforts more closely, sharing intelligence and resources with other resistance groups. This collaboration marked a significant evolution in the Chemin de Fer Secret, transforming it from a loosely organized group of railway workers into a more cohesive and strategic network. In the weeks following the April operation, the Chemin de Fer Secret executed a series of coordinated strikes against German supply lines. One notable operation involved the sabotage of a key railway junction near Lyon, a critical hub for transporting troops and materials to the front. The workers meticulously planned the operation, timing it to coincide with a scheduled troop movement. As the German convoy approached the junction, the railway workers executed their plan, derailing several cars and causing a significant delay in troop reinforcements. The impact of these operations reverberated throughout the German command structure. Reports of delays and disruptions began to filter up the chain of command, prompting increased scrutiny and paranoia among German officers. They began to suspect that a well-organized resistance was at play, but the extent of the Chemin de Fer Secret's capabilities remained largely unknown to them. This uncertainty only fueled the network's resolve, as they continued to exploit the element of surprise. As the German military ramped up its efforts to identify and dismantle the resistance, the Chemin de Fer Secret adapted its tactics. The railway workers employed a variety of methods to conceal their activities, including using false identities and creating elaborate cover stories. They also began to implement a system of coded messages to communicate with one another, ensuring that their plans remained hidden from prying eyes. Despite the risks, the network's operations continued to grow in scale and complexity. In May 1944, the Chemin de Fer Secret executed one of its most ambitious operations to date, a coordinated series of attacks on multiple railway lines across France. This operation involved not only railway workers but also collaboration with other resistance groups, who provided support and intelligence. The goal was to create widespread disruption that would hinder German mobility in the lead-up to the Allied invasion. The operation unfolded over several days, with teams of railway workers stationed at key points along the railway lines. As trains approached, they executed their plans with precision, sabotaging tracks, signaling systems, and even commandeering trains to reroute them to safe locations. The chaos that ensued was unprecedented, as German commanders struggled to regain control of their supply lines. The impact of these operations was felt far beyond the immediate disruptions. The German military, already stretched thin due to the demands of the Eastern Front, found itself grappling with an unexpected and formidable enemy within its own occupied territories. The realization that a network of civilians could mount such a sophisticated campaign of sabotage forced German commanders to reassess their strategies and resources. As the confrontation between the Chemin de Fer Secret and the German occupiers escalated, the stakes grew higher for both sides. The railway workers faced increasing danger as the German military intensified its crackdown on suspected resistance members. Raids became more frequent, and the Gestapo employed brutal tactics to extract information from captured operatives. Yet, despite the peril, the railway workers remained resolute, driven by a shared commitment to their cause. The Chemin de Fer Secret's actions not only disrupted German military operations but also served as a rallying cry for the broader French resistance movement. News of their successes spread quickly, inspiring other groups to take up arms against the occupiers. The network's resilience became a symbol of hope, demonstrating that even in the darkest of times, ordinary citizens could rise to challenge tyranny. In conclusion, The first major operations of the Chemin de Fer Secret marked a turning point in the struggle against German occupation. The network's ability to adapt, innovate, and collaborate with other resistance groups showcased the power of civilian defiance in the face of tyranny. As the Allied forces prepared for D-Day, the Chemin de Fer Secret stood ready to play a pivotal role in the unfolding drama of liberation, demonstrating that ordinary citizens could indeed change the course of history. As the spring of 1944 unfolded, the Chemin de Fer Secret reached a pivotal moment in its covert operations. The network, which had been meticulously crafted by the railway workers and their civilian allies, was about to demonstrate its full potential. The German military, which had long underestimated the capabilities of the French populace, was about to face a revelation that would alter their perception of the occupied territories. In early May 1944, the network orchestrated a daring operation that would become a testament to the power of civilian resistance. A significant German convoy, laden with troops and supplies destined for the Normandy coast, was scheduled to depart from the Gare de l'Est in Paris. The convoy's timely arrival was crucial to reinforcing the German defenses in anticipation of the Allied invasion. However, the Chemin de Fer Secret had other plans. Utilizing their intimate knowledge of the railway schedules and routes, the network's operatives devised a plan to delay the convoy. Under the cover of darkness, railway workers sabotaged key sections of the track, creating strategic bottlenecks that would force the German trains to halt. Meanwhile, other members of the network infiltrated the railway yards, discreetly switching the destination tags on freight cars to sow confusion among the German logistics offices. The operation unfolded with precision. As the convoy departed Paris, it encountered the first of many unexpected delays. German commanders, initially dismissive of the disruptions, soon realized that their carefully orchestrated timetable was unraveling. Hours turned into days as the convoy languished on the tracks, unable to reach its destination. The effect of the Chemin de Fer Secret's actions was profound. The delay of the convoy not only hindered the German military's ability to reinforce its positions but also exposed the vulnerability of their supply lines. Reports of the operation spread rapidly, reaching the ears of resistance groups across France. The revelation that ordinary citizens, armed with their wits and determination, could outmaneuver the occupying forces inspired a renewed sense of hope and defiance. German commanders, now fully aware of the civilian-led resistance, expressed disbelief and frustration. How could a seemingly disorganized populace, armed with nothing more than their wits and determination, outmaneuver the might of the Wehrmacht? The answer lay in the network's ability to blend into the fabric of everyday life, using the mundane routines of railway operations as a cover for their clandestine activities. The success of the operation had far-reaching consequences. It galvanized other resistance groups, who saw in the Chemin de Fer Secret a model of effective civilian defiance. Across France, similar networks began to form, each drawing inspiration from the railway workers' ingenuity and courage. The realization that ordinary citizens could wield such power sparked a renewed sense of hope among the French population, a hope that would prove instrumental in the coming months. As May drew to a close, the Chemin de Fer Secret had firmly established itself as a formidable force in the resistance movement. Its actions not only hindered German military operations but also served as a rallying cry for those who longed for liberation. The network's impact was undeniable, and its legacy would continue to resonate long after the war had ended. The revelation of the Chemin de Fer Secret's capabilities did not go unnoticed by the German High Command. As the network's successes mounted, so too did the urgency with which the occupiers sought to dismantle it. The German response was swift and brutal, a testament to the threat that the civilian resistance posed to their control over France. In early June 1944, as the Allies prepared to launch their invasion of Normandy, the German military intensified its crackdown on suspected resistance members. Raids were conducted with ruthless efficiency, targeting railway stations and the homes of known railway workers. The Gestapo, notorious for its brutal interrogation methods, was tasked with rooting out the leaders of the Chemin de Fer Secret. The reprisals were severe. Many civilians were arrested, tortured, or executed in a desperate attempt to dismantle the network. The German occupiers, determined to maintain their grip on the region, resorted to increasingly draconian measures. Curfews were imposed, and travel restrictions tightened, as the occupiers sought to isolate the resistance from the broader population. Despite the escalating violence, the commitment of the railway workers only strengthened. The network's operatives, aware of the risks they faced, continued to sabotage operations and assist Allied agents. Their resilience became a symbol of defiance against oppression, galvanizing further support from the local population. The German response, while brutal, ultimately failed to achieve its objective. The Chemin de Fer Secret, though battered, remained operational. Its members, driven by a shared sense of purpose and solidarity, refused to be cowed by the occupiers' tactics. Instead, they adapted their strategies, employing even greater secrecy and caution in their operations. The network's resilience was a testament to the power of civilian resistance. It demonstrated that even in the face of overwhelming odds, ordinary people could rise to challenge tyranny and effect change. The Chemin de Fer Secret's actions not only hindered German military operations but also inspired a broader movement of defiance across France. In the months leading up to the invasion, the Chemin de Fer Secret had become a beacon of hope for the French populace. The network's actions were not merely tactical, they were a declaration of resistance against tyranny. The railway workers, once seen as mere civilians, had transformed into a formidable force capable of challenging the might of the German military. As the German military faced increasing disruptions, the morale of the French population began to shift. The realization that they were not alone in their struggle against oppression inspired many to join the resistance. The Chemin de Fer Secret's success in delaying German troop movements and supply lines became a rallying point, encouraging others to take up arms and resist the occupiers. The revelation of the Chemin de Fer Secret's capabilities also had a profound impact on the German military's strategic planning. The realization that civilian resistance could effectively disrupt their operations forced German commanders to divert resources and attention to counterinsurgency efforts. This redirection of German focus further strained their already stretched military capabilities, creating opportunities for the Allies. As the Allied forces prepared for the D-Day invasion, the Chemin de Fer Secret stood ready to play a crucial role. The network's actions in the weeks leading up to the invasion had laid the groundwork for success, demonstrating the power of civilian resistance in shaping the course of history. The railway workers, united in their determination, were poised to make a lasting impact on the liberation of France. In conclusion, the revelation of the Chemin de Fer Secret's capabilities marked a turning point in the struggle against German occupation. The network's ability to adapt, innovate, and inspire others showcased the power of civilian defiance in the face of tyranny. As the Allies prepared for D-Day, the Chemin de Fer Secret stood ready to play a pivotal role in the unfolding drama of liberation, demonstrating that ordinary citizens could indeed change the course of history. The German response to the Chemin de Fer Secret's burgeoning influence was swift and ruthless, reflecting the regime's desperation to maintain control over occupied France. As the Allied invasion loomed on the horizon, the German military escalated its efforts to dismantle the network, leading to a series of brutal reprisals against suspected resistance members. The consequences of these actions would reverberate throughout the occupied territories, creating a complex tapestry of fear, resilience, and moral dilemmas. In early June 1944, as the Allies prepared for D-Day, the Gestapo intensified its crackdown on the Chemin de Fer Secret. Raids on railway stations became commonplace, with soldiers storming through the facilities, searching for any signs of sabotage or resistance. The atmosphere was charged with tension. Railway workers exchanged furtive glances, knowing that one misstep could lead to arrest or worse. The German commanders, frustrated by the persistent disruptions, believed that by instilling fear, they could silence the resistance once and for all. The reprisals were brutal and indiscriminate. Many railway workers were arrested, subjected to harsh interrogations, and often executed without trial. The German authorities aimed to make examples of those they captured, hoping to instill fear in the hearts of others who might consider joining the resistance. Families were torn apart, and communities were left in mourning, grappling with the loss of their loved ones who had dared to stand against tyranny. Yet, in the face of such brutality, the resolve of the Chemin de Fer Secret only deepened. The network's members, aware of the risks, continued to sabotage operations and assist Allied agents. Their commitment to the cause of freedom became a powerful motivator, transforming fear into a fierce determination to resist. The railway workers understood that their actions were not merely about disrupting German supply lines, they were fighting for their very existence and the future of their homeland. The moral dilemmas faced by the resistance members were profound. Each act of sabotage carried the weight of potential consequences not just for themselves, but for their families and communities. The decision to engage in resistance meant risking everything, including the lives of innocent civilians. The railway workers grappled with these choices, often questioning whether their actions would ultimately lead to liberation or further suffering. Yet, the urgency of the situation propelled them forward, as they recognized that inaction would only serve to prolong their suffering under German occupation. As the Allied invasion approached, the Chemin de Fer Secret's actions became increasingly critical. The network's operatives worked tirelessly to gather intelligence on German troop movements, providing vital information that would aid the Allied forces in their assault. The railway workers knew that their efforts could tip the balance in favor of the Allies, and they were determined to play their part in the liberation of France. The culmination of the Chemin de Fer Secret's efforts came on June 6, 1944, as the Allies launched their invasion of Normandy. The network's actions in the weeks leading up to D-Day had created chaos within the German military, delaying reinforcements and sowing confusion among the ranks. The German commanders, now fully aware of the civilian-led resistance, were left scrambling to respond to the unexpected onslaught. The effect of the Chemin de Fer Secret's sabotage operations was felt immediately. As German troops attempted to mobilize in response to the invasion, they found themselves hindered by the very supply lines they had relied upon. Delays in troop movements and shortages of critical supplies hampered their ability to mount an effective defense against the Allied forces. The railway workers' actions had not only disrupted logistics but had also instilled a sense of uncertainty and fear within the German ranks. In the aftermath of the invasion, the consequences of the Chemin de Fer Secret's actions became increasingly evident. The network's resilience had played a pivotal role in the success of the Allied campaign, showcasing the power of civilian resistance in the face of overwhelming odds. The railway workers, once dismissed as mere civilians, had proven that they could outmaneuver the might of the Wehrmacht, altering the course of history. However, the victory came at a steep price. The brutal reprisals against the resistance had left deep scars on the French population. Communities were shattered, families torn apart, and the psychological toll of occupation weighed heavily on the survivors. The moral complexities of resistance lingered in the air, as individuals grappled with the consequences of their actions and the sacrifices made in the name of freedom. As the dust settled in the wake of D-Day, the Chemin de Fer Secret emerged as a symbol of hope and defiance. The network's actions had demonstrated the power of ordinary citizens to effect change, inspiring others to join the fight against oppression. Yet, the legacy of their struggle was intertwined with the harsh realities of war, a reminder that the path to liberation was fraught with challenges and moral dilemmas. In the months that followed, the Chemin de Fer Secret continued to operate, adapting to the changing landscape of the war. The network's members remained committed to their cause, driven by a shared sense of purpose and solidarity. Their resilience became a beacon of hope for the French population, a testament to the enduring spirit of resistance in the face of tyranny. As the later years of the war raged on, the consequences of the Chemin de Fer Secret's actions would continue to unfold, shaping the course of history and leaving an indelible mark on the collective memory of the French people. The struggle for freedom was far from over, and the railway workers, along with their fellow resistance members, were prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their quest for liberation. In the wake of the Allied invasion of Normandy, the Chemin de Fer Secret found itself at a crossroads. The network's actions had played a crucial role in the success of D-Day, but the war was far from over. As the Allies advanced through France, the railway workers faced new challenges, both in terms of their operations and the moral implications of their continued resistance. The liberation of France was a complex and multifaceted process. While the Allied forces pushed back against the German occupiers, the Chemin de Fer Secret remained committed to its mission of disrupting enemy operations and supporting the Allied advance. The network's members understood that their contributions were vital in ensuring the success of the liberation effort, and they continued to carry out sabotage operations with unwavering determination. However, the aftermath of D-Day brought with it a new set of moral dilemmas. The railway workers grappled with the consequences of their actions, reflecting on the lives lost and the suffering endured by their fellow citizens. The brutal reprisals carried out by the German military had left deep scars on the French population, and the railway workers were acutely aware of the toll their resistance had taken on their communities. In the later years of the war progressed, the Chemin de Fer Secret faced increasing scrutiny from both the German authorities and the local population. The network's members were aware that their actions, while aimed at liberating France, also had the potential to alienate those who had suffered at the hands of the occupiers. The railway workers sought to balance their commitment to resistance with the need to maintain the support of their communities, navigating the delicate dynamics of wartime solidarity. In this context, the Chemin de Fer Secret adapted its strategies. The network began to focus not only on sabotage but also on fostering relationships with the local population. They organized efforts to provide aid to those affected by the war, distributing food and supplies to families in need. By demonstrating their commitment to the well-being of their communities, the railway workers aimed to reinforce the bonds of solidarity that had been forged in the crucible of resistance. The transformation of the Chemin de Fer Secret was emblematic of the broader changes taking place in France during the liberation. As the Allies advanced, the spirit of resistance permeated the country, inspiring individuals from all walks of life to join the fight against oppression. The railway workers, once seen as mere civilians, emerged as leaders within the resistance movement, guiding others in their quest for freedom. The network's actions also highlighted the importance of intelligence gathering in the context of warfare. The Chemin de Fer Secret became adept at collecting and disseminating information about German troop movements, supply routes, and vulnerabilities. Their intimate knowledge of the railway system allowed them to provide invaluable insights to the Allied forces, further solidifying their role as key players in the liberation effort. As the conflict neared the enduring legacy of the Chemin de Fer Secret became increasingly apparent. The network's contributions had not only disrupted German operations but had also inspired a sense of hope and resilience among the French population. The railway workers' actions served as a reminder that ordinary citizens could rise to challenge tyranny, and their story would be woven into the fabric of France's post-war identity. In the aftermath of the liberation, the Chemin de Fer Secret faced the challenge of reconciling its past with the new reality of a liberated France. The network's members were hailed as heroes by some, while others questioned the morality of their actions during the war. The complexities of wartime resistance were laid bare, as individuals grappled with the consequences of their choices and the sacrifices made in the name of freedom. As France began the process of rebuilding, the contributions of the Chemin de Fer Secret were celebrated and commemorated. Memorials were erected in honor of the railway workers who had risked their lives for freedom, ensuring that their legacy would endure. Historical accounts documented the network's actions, preserving their story for future generations. The effect of the Chemin de Fer Secret extended beyond the borders of France. Its success served as a model for resistance movements around the world, demonstrating the power of ordinary citizens to effect change. The network's legacy inspired a new generation of activists, who saw in its actions a blueprint for challenging oppression and injustice. In the years that followed, the account of the Chemin de Fer Secret became a symbol of hope and resilience. It served as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, ordinary people could rise to challenge tyranny and effect change. The railway workers' actions, driven by a shared commitment to freedom, became a testament to the enduring spirit of resistance. As we reflect on the enduring legacy of the Chemin de Fer Secret, we are reminded of the importance of community solidarity and collective action. The network's success was not the result of individual heroism, but rather the product of a shared commitment to a common cause. It is a lesson that remains as relevant today as it was during the dark days of occupation. In honoring the memory of the Chemin de Fer Secret, we pay tribute to the countless individuals who risked everything in France's fight for freedom. Their courage and determination serve as an enduring inspiration, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, ordinary people can rise to challenge tyranny and effect change. In the aftermath of World War II, the enduring legacy of the Chemin de Fer Secret emerged as a powerful symbol of civilian resistance and the indomitable spirit of the French people. As France began to heal from the scars of occupation and war, the contributions of the railway workers who formed this clandestine network were recognized as pivotal in the liberation of the nation. Their bravery and ingenuity not only played a crucial role in the Allied victory, but also inspired future generations to value the importance of grassroots activism and community solidarity. In the years following the war, France undertook a concerted effort to honor those who had resisted the Nazi occupation. Memorials were erected across the country, celebrating the courage of the Chemin de Fer Secret and other resistance groups. One of the most significant memorials was established at the Gare de Lyon, a major railway station in Paris, where a plaque was unveiled to commemorate the railway workers who had risked their lives to disrupt German operations. This tribute served as a reminder of the sacrifices made by ordinary citizens in France's fight for freedom. In addition to physical memorials, the stories of the Chemin de Fer Secret were woven into the fabric of French history. Schools incorporated lessons about the resistance into their curricula, ensuring that future generations would learn about the bravery and determination of those who stood against tyranny. Documentaries and films were produced, dramatizing the network's operations and highlighting the critical role of civilian resistance in the broader context of World War II. These narratives not only celebrated the past but also served as a call to action for contemporary audiences, emphasizing the importance of standing up against oppression in all its forms. The enduring legacy of the Chemin de Fer Secret also found its way into historical accounts and literature. Historians and authors sought to document the experiences of the railway workers, preserving their stories for posterity. Books detailing the operations of the network were published, providing insight into the strategies employed by the resistance and the challenges they faced. These works contributed to a growing body of literature that explored the complexities of civilian resistance during the war, offering a nuanced understanding of the motivations and sacrifices of those involved. One notable publication was The Rails of Resistance, a comprehensive account of the Chemin de Fer Secret that combined first-hand testimonies from surviving members with extensive research into the broader resistance movement. This book not only chronicled the network's operations but also highlighted the personal stories of the individuals who participated, showcasing their courage and resilience in the face of danger. Such narratives helped to humanize the struggle, allowing readers to connect with the experiences of those who fought for freedom. The enduring legacy of the Chemin de Fer Secret extended beyond commemoration and historical accounts. It served as a source of inspiration for future generations, particularly in the realm of activism and social justice. The network's success demonstrated that ordinary citizens could effect change, even in the face of overwhelming odds. This message resonated with individuals and groups advocating for various causes, from civil rights to environmental justice, who drew on the lessons of the past to inform their actions in the present. In the decades following the war, The spirit of the Chemin de Fer Secret inspired a new wave of activism across France and beyond. Grassroots movements emerged, championing issues such as labor rights, anti-colonialism, and social equality. Activists often invoked the enduring legacy of the resistance, emphasizing the importance of collective action and community solidarity in their struggles. The Chemin de Fer Secret became a symbol of hope and resilience, reminding individuals that they could make a difference in their communities and the world at large. The effect of the Chemin de Fer Secret was not confined to France. Its legacy resonated globally, influencing resistance movements in other countries facing oppression. The network's success served as a model for civilian-led resistance, demonstrating that ordinary people could challenge authoritarian regimes and effect change. Activists around the world looked to the Chemin de Fer Secret as a source of inspiration, drawing on its strategies and tactics to inform their own struggles. In the post-war era, the principles of the Chemin de Fer Secret found expression in various movements, from the civil rights movement in the United States to anti-apartheid efforts in South Africa. The emphasis on grassroots organizing, community solidarity, and the power of collective action became hallmarks of these movements, reflecting the enduring influence of the French resistance. As we reflect on the enduring legacy of the Chemin de Fer Secret, it is essential to consider the lessons it imparts for contemporary society. The network's story serves as a reminder of the importance of civic engagement and the power of ordinary individuals to effect change. In an era marked by political polarization and social unrest, the Chemin de Fer Secret's legacy encourages us to come together as a community, to stand up against injustice, and to work collaboratively toward a common goal. The network's success also underscores the significance of resilience in the face of adversity. The railway workers who formed the Chemin de Fer Secret operated under constant threat of discovery, yet they persevered in their mission. Their unwavering commitment to the cause of freedom serves as an inspiration for those facing challenges today, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, hope and determination can prevail. Moreover, the Chemin de Fer Secret's emphasis on intelligence gathering and strategic planning offers valuable insights for contemporary activists. The network's ability to adapt to changing circumstances and exploit vulnerabilities in the oppressive systems highlights the importance of being resourceful and innovative in the pursuit of justice. In a world where the stakes are often high, the lessons learned from the Chemin de Fer Secret can guide us in our efforts to create a more just and equitable society. In honoring the memory of the Chemin de Fer Secret, we pay tribute to the countless individuals who risked everything in France's fight for freedom. Their courage and determination serve as an enduring inspiration, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, ordinary people can rise to challenge tyranny and effect change. The enduring legacy of the Chemin de Fer Secret is not merely a historical account, it is a living testament to the power of collective action and the resilience of the human spirit. As we navigate the complexities of the modern world, the account of the Chemin de Fer Secret remains relevant. It challenges us to reflect on our own responsibilities as citizens and to consider how we can contribute to the ongoing struggle for justice and equality. The network's legacy serves as a beacon of hope, reminding us that, together, we can overcome adversity and create a brighter future for all.